Friends, good morning. Today is 18 of February 2024, and I remember a few days ago a friend of mine. He is not really a close friend to me, but we become acquainted because he is joining our presentation wherever I will be making a presentation with the society and with the organization of health and safety, the World Safety Organization. He is always there, and the difficulty while he was here is to find a job to become safety officer, because he was, I think, once a safety officer in one of the project. Now he sent me a WhatsApp message, and I found out I was hesitant at first because the number is not in Qatar. When I asked him, who are you? Then he identified himself, and I found out that he is the guy whom I had met in several occasions in a presentation where I was leading. So maybe because of his confidence and trust, he asked me to help him come up with or give him a risk assessment for trench and excavation. Now, I asked him whether it is a shallow excavation for utility, underground utility, or it is a deep excavation for, let's say, a water tank for firefighting, or a foundation of, let's say, a 40 plus tower. And it took me time to convince him that it is too easy. However, he just rely on proceeding and asked me of a help for him to come up with that risk assessment. So eventually, I just had a chat with him that one thing that we have to be very careful in risk assessment, in excavation risk assessment, is that first of all, we need to know the depth. What is the depth of that excavation? If it is trench, what is the depth? Because there are regulations in different countries that you can only apply the engineering control on a particular depth of a trench or excavation. So therefore, because I'm focusing into the geotechnical report, how you are going to structure, how you are going to attach, how you are going to verbatimly quote the recommendation, what was recommended by the geotechnical expert. All right. So, friends, I really wanted you to understand that before you are going to come up with your risk assessment, you need to know the depth of your excavation, what that excavation for, whether it is for water tank for firefighting, or it may be an excavation for, let's say, a 2 basement or 1 basement with 30-story building, or 42 or 48-story building, or maybe 60-story building. That you have to understand, because the more recommended control, the more stringent recommendations you need to apply if it is an excavation of a foundation of a structure. Now, safety engineers should understand that before a project starts, the design itself, they have their own geotechnical report. Why? The geotechnical report for the design stage is to determine what type of foundation, how deep should be the foundation, what's the width and the thickness of the concrete for the excavation. So all of these details, all of this design cannot proceed without the specific and a total understanding of what's beneath the surface. They need to know. Otherwise, your design, it is baseless, because this is the basis of your design. All right. Now the contract, you have to be very careful, because there might be geotechnical report for the design, and maybe the contractor will also be required to have a geotechnical report for the purpose of commencement of their excavation, because there are geotechnical report that does not cover the recommended slope. 1 minute, hold on, brother. Alright. I'm having my breakfast. Egg chapati and chicken chili. And I have my chai. I just passed by because I don't have breakfast anyway when I... 1 minute. Alright. So, my point here is that not all geotechnical report covers the recommended slope or any engineering control. We have to be very careful on this. By the way, before moving forward, I want you to understand that there are 4 engineering control. There are only 4. Shoring, shielding, sloping, and benching. Or a combination. Alright? Shoring, shielding, benching, and sloping. Now, the geotechnical report will surely recommend, if it is covered by their scope, that the determination of, upon the determination of the entire material, is also to recommend the geotechnical report, because I found out that not all geotechnical report covers a recommendation of a sloping requirements or any other engineering control. I found out that I got one project before, and I asked the contractor whether the contractor had proceeded with the geotechnical report. They said yes. So I asked them of the copy of the geotechnical report. When I found out that the geotechnical report that they are having is only for the purpose of determining the foundation of a precast 3-story building. So definitely, the excavation is the sample, the sampling, the taking of material for their analysis is only shallow, because the footing of the foundation of the structure is not even reaching up to 2 meters, because there is no basement, and it is only a foundation of a precast structure. So we find it difficult to convince the top management that there is a recommended slope, so that, thank you, brother, so that they refer into the geotechnical report, because there is no such thing as recommended slope in all excavation. Then I called the third party who conducted the geotechnical report, and I told them, why is it that there is no recommended slope or any other engineering control, either shoring, benching, or shielding? They said, we received an inquiry. Now, before he explained me on this, he asked me for 3 hours at least. When I called him in the morning, he said, can you call me at 1 o'clock so that I can prepare all the transcript of that geotechnical survey. So at 1 o'clock, I called him again, and he told me that the request is not covering the recommended slope, because this is only shallow sampling, and the sample that they took for analysis is not even reaching to 2 meters, because that is only for the purpose of design in their determination of what would be the design of the structure. So that is a geotechnical report, but does not cover any geotechnical recommendation pertaining to the slope, shoring, benching, and shielding. They have the They have the full analysis of the soil of less than 2 meters. But I came to ask them because apart from this, they are using the same geotechnical report for an 8 meters deep excavation. And that meters deep excavation is what? Direct vertical cut without any slope at all. Then they started with the rough concrete for a water tank for fire protection. Then I asked them, where is the geotechnical report? Why there is no sloping? Why there is none? When we discuss, they showed me some geotechnical report that does not contain any of the engineering control at all. So that is why I said to myself that there is a more reason for me to discuss this so that it will be included and to widen the consciousness of our friends, my friends in this profession, that we have to look into the geotechnical report. We can even call the third party just for us to understand what is the request, why it did not include any geotechnical recommendation as to the sloping, shoring, or whatever engineering control. Then I successfully recommend, and the contractor finally come up with a geotechnical report for the purpose of prescribing an engineering control for a deep trench and excavation. So that was a complex project. I think there were 12 three-story building, precast building in that project, and at least I was able to highlight one engineering tool for purposes of managing health and safety, that at the end of the day, the third party geotechnical laboratory had recommended the first 1 meter shall be sloped. So then immediately the contractor provided a 1 meter slope, the first 1 meter, because the strata is hard in that particular area. So now when it comes to risk assessment, we have to be very careful because there are hazards in trench and excavation. First of all, you will start, most of your risk assessment will start with what? Survey and setting out. In survey alone, there are hazards in survey because you will be sending your survey team to the area. And in surveying an area, there might be some earth voids which are there might be some wheels in the past and it was not covered, or maybe covered partly by rotten leaves and etc. You have domesticated animal by neighboring villas or residence. If it is in the residential area, then your people should be protected from domesticated animals, especially the dogs, especially any animals or reptiles that is domesticated. Stray dogs and stray cats and scorpions and rattlesnake who are hibernating in the trees or under the trees. So your workers must be protected. You need to have first aid kit, you need to have training and orientation, you need to provide your workers with the exact location of the nearest hospital in case a venomous snake or any reptiles bite any of your survey team. Now, when crossing the road, is it not difficult? Is it not difficult to cross the road while bringing some survey tools? Yes. So you need, your recommended control is that all your survey teams should wear high visibility vest, and they should only use the designated pedestrian crossing. And after that, when all the markings are already in place, you start with the methodology, the process of how the excavation will start. So in that excavation process, typically you will find that in section 4 or 5 of most of the method statement. So what are those steps you have to follow? Now, before the commencement of any mechanical excavation, you need to determine, you have to counter-check with the underground utility drawings coming from the municipality or coming from the authority. If there are underground utility drawing, underground utilities. Now, what you should do, what your team should do if there is an underground utility, first is to expose them. And if it requires, after exposure, if it requires reinforcement because you will be excavating all those earth, then you need some reinforcement of those underground utilities. Now, for electrical, there is a specific training coming from the authority, coming from the electric authority, on who are those people authorized to protect, to hold, to initiate the protection of those underground electrical cable. Because it is difficult to cut, make a report of an incident, accidentally, then you will be making a notification, IRP, then full investigation report. For you not to reach that point, you have to uncover, expose those underground utilities that appear in the drawing. Now, if there will be none, then the full excavation shall commence. Taking reference into the recommended slope from the very beginning, there is a big challenge, my friend, in an excavation that does not refer into the geotechnical report. There are construction team that does not follow the recommended slope, so that in the middle of the work, it will be a big class, because there are some engineers who do not want to go back and start the recommended slope because it will increase the materials for excavation. There are some engineers that will argue that the earth material to be removed here will exceed into our contract with the subcontractor. We don't care. As long as it is safe, we have to insist. Now, if the site engineer will argue with you, go to your construction manager, talk to the project manager, and if the project manager cannot resolve this, discuss with the consultant, and maybe the consultant will open that in the progress meeting. Not purposely to crucify the safety officer of the main contractor who reported it to you, but to help the main contractor bring this matter and provide what is recommended slope. And one thing in the method statement, my friend, I would like to bring this up, that there are method statement that sometimes the geotechnical report is totally, that its recommendation is totally different from what is written in the methodology. In the methodology, it speaks of something different from what is required in the, or recommended in the geotechnical report. This is totally wrong. We can assume that the safety drafting or initiating the risk assessment is not referring into what is required in the geotechnical report. So imagine if you are a doctor and the medical laboratory says that it is typhoid fever, but you had already prescribed and you never change your prescription because you are believing that it is malaria. So then, the treatment does not correspond with the findings of the laboratory. So similarly, I found out that not once, when I check some method statement, does not even reflect what is the recommendation of the geotechnical report. Especially so that the technical team who prepared the method statement and risk assessment, the method statement, for example, that they were not briefed, or a copy of the geotechnical report is not provided to them. So then the technical engineers will drop their methodology not aligned, not in consonant, not coherent, not in understanding or similar into what is recommended in the geotechnical report. Be careful on this. You need to know the geotechnical report. You cannot proceed with your risk assessment or even in the drafting of the method statement without full understanding of the recommendations in the geotechnical report. Very important, because only the geotechnical report can give you the right information of what engineering control should be provided. Thank you and good morning.